Sweet. You surely have heard the word sweet before, and chances are you have heard it mispronounced on most occasions. So let's take a look at that word and let's see exactly what it means. Suite is both a French and an English word, and it means a set or a series. For example, a set of furniture for your living room is a living room suite. A set of furniture for your dining room is a dining room suite. I'm sure you've never heard it pronounced that way before, but that's what it is. In music, a set or a series of pieces is called a suite. So let's examine the origins of the suite in dance music. During the Renaissance, dances were danced or presented in contrasting pairs. That is, when dance music was heard, or when dances, social dances that is, were danced, they were presented in sets of two. During the Baroque era, however, dances were danced or presented in contrasting suites. That is, from that time forward, dances were no longer danced in contrasting pairs. And the number and the types of dances in a dance suite has changed over the centuries, and it varies from one place to another. By the way, the custom of dancing or presenting dances in contrasting suites continues right to the present. Okay, it may come as a bit of a surprise to you that dances are still danced and presented in contrasting suites, and it probably will come as a surprise to you as well to know that there have always existed two types of dance music. So let's take a look at this phenomenon, the business of two different kinds of dance music. And in order to understand this, you need to put aside your own notions about dancing. These days, basically, we can dance to whatever music we like. There are no set movements or steps for dances or interaction among pairs of dancers. But this, of course, was entirely different in the past. The music, or the dance rather, started with the music itself, and there were a number of protocols that were followed in dancing dances before our era. The two types of dance music are music for actual dancing and stylized dance music. We are going to undertake a systematic exploration of these two types of dance music. So I'm going to ask you to complete or to copy the table that you see above your podcast screen into your notes. And let's take a look at the three aspects of our exploration. We're going to begin by taking a look at how each of these types of music was actually created. Then we're going to see how much of that music has survived into the present, and to see how each of these types of music were used in the past. Music for actual dancing, that is music that was intended to support dancing at a social event, what we call social dancing or ballroom dancing, was usually improvised. In fact, almost all dance music of the past, before I'd say about the middle of the 19th century, most of it was improvised. Dance musicians of the past and of the present very often could not read music, and they basically made up whatever they needed for a certain occasion. The music served its purpose, and then it was lost to posterity. Most stylized dance music, however, was composed. That is, it was written down at the time of its creation. Whether the music was improvised or written down accounts for its survival rate. In the case of music for actual dancing, almost all of which was improvised in the past, we have very little of this type of music that survives from early times. So chances are you will hear very little of this music in your listening experience. In the case of stylized dance music, however, music that was composed and written down at its creation, Lots of this type of music survives from early times. And in fact, most of the dance music that you will hear from the past is stylized dance music, not music for actual dancing. Music for actual dancing had no utility beyond the purpose of supporting the movement of dancers while they were dancing, and therefore it was used only for dancing. No one ever hired a dance band to come in so that people could sit down and listen to them play. The music just wasn't interesting enough. People, however, liked the feel of dance music, and so therefore another type of dance music came into existence, one that went beyond the purpose of supporting the movement of the dancers on the floor. Stylized dance music was used only for listening. In fact, this type of music, most of the time at least, would not work for the purposes of actual dancing. You know what happens when a composer gets a hold of a piece of music. And we've seen this time and again in this course with pre-existing melodies. Does the composer always present the melody faithfully and unaltered when he includes it in his own composition? Absolutely not. Composers like to mess with whatever melodies come down to them. They paraphrase them. They alter the rhythms. They add and change notes in the compositions. They do all sorts of things to them. The same thing happens with dance music. Composers rarely were content to present or to create pieces of dance music that were simple and that would serve the purposes of actual dancing. Almost all stylized dance music goes well beyond the purposes of dancing. It often has the wrong number of beats, the wrong length of phrases, and so on, so it could not be used to support dancing, but it was very interesting to listen to, and I suppose part of the fun of listening to one of these dances is, if you know what an actual dance of a certain sort sounds and how it works, when you heard a stylized version of it, you would appreciate all the fun changes that the composer made in it to keep your attention. So all the wonderful dance music that you will hear in this course and in your own listening experience, chances are most of it is of this type, stylized dance music that was written expressly for the purpose of listening.